So you're at, so my experience, strength and hope around titles, I come from a different perspective from what most of the perspectives that were shared in the pre-show conversation. I view titles as limitation. I view titles as, I don't view a title as, it's certainly not who we are. Let me just say that right off the bat. A title is not who we are. And to speak to what you just said, Barack, about when
lived experiences.
Lived experiences, yes. So I don't come to the table with doctor before my name or PhD or all those fancy credentials, if you will, and years of education in those fields. I do have certifications coming out the yin yang because of my own insecurities and my not enoughness of thinking I needed one more certification in order to be enough and know enough before I could go out there and help people, which I like to share on that because there are so many people cycling around in that trap and that loop. And when they could be out there helping people. So I value, one of my big values is lived experience. And I believe that became true for me from my experiences of all the years. I've been sober 27 years. I grew up in 12-step recovery, saved my life. And so when I look at those years, and I can tell you, I can look you in the eye and say, there is nobody on this planet who can help me like another suffering alcoholic.
Wow.
Nobody can help me. No doctor, no therapist, no psychiatrist, nobody like another suffering alcoholic. Who's found the solution, of course. Like
I was like, wait, there's got to be a continuation. Okay, I'm glad you continue with that.
So
at least recovering,
But who better to help somebody who is trying to heal through trauma or trying to heal through chronic illness or trying to heal through whatever it might be, mental health issues, than another person who is a few steps ahead and who's found solutions that work for them, that might be able to save you decades like it took me.
Right. Just to talk to your point, and I'll share a short story about a similar experience where I was in a position of need and I just needed an anything job just to survive pretty much. We do find ourselves sometimes in these kind of situations. And I went to like some restaurant to be a server or something. And they asked for my resume. I don't know why they need a resume for a server, but anyhow, I give them my resume and it says clearly I was a business owner, and it says, I had a degree and I had all these things. And he looks at me and he goes, "You're way too qualified." So I looked at him and I was like, "Oh, okay. Can you pass over that pen just a quick second?" So he looks at me, he gives me the pen. He doesn't know what I'm doing. I just take the pen and I just scratch across my whole resume. And I just said, "How qualified am I now?"
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, obviously, titles have their place. I mean, in the conversations I saw in the pre-show conversation, I was like, yeah, like I get that. Totally get that. But I'm in a different world. I'm in a world of, where I lived out a story that wasn't true. I lived out like, I'm so big on shedding the conditioning and unlayering to get home to the truth of who we are, not what we are, but what we are really, which I believe is light and love at the core of our being. Like that's who and what we are. Right. But we have layers of conditioning. And like you talked earlier about, loser and all these things. And like, I call those stamps. It's like every time something, it's like stamp, right? We're stamped and we're imprinted on. And so there I was, and this was just last year. This was another layer of my healing last year where I was working with a coach and I had this I realized I had this breakthrough. Oh my God. Like I have been walking around with a box around over my head. And on this box are all the labels, the titles, the stories, the diagnoses, the imprints, you name it on it. Alcoholic, depression, anxiety, chronic illness, trauma survivor, like all these things. And I realized I was like, wow, like I put myself in a box because what I realized, the breakthrough for me was like, I could take this box off my head.
Right.
Right.
And you know what? But my soul was ready because like little Jen wanted to come out and play. She was like, I can't play with this box on my head. Take it off, Jen. Like she was like, take this box off. And it didn't really occur to me because I didn't really consciously think about a box on my head. This is of course all metaphorical, but I wasn't literally, just so you know, disclaimer, I wasn't literally wrong about the box on my head. Although it might be something I would do for a day if you challenge me. But you know what I'm saying? And it was like,
yes,
box off, Jen, because like nobody else is going to take it off for you.
Wow.
So I took the box off in 2021.